brand new Halloween and a few fall DIYs for you. I'm Jamie, the Crafty DIY guy. I'd like to thank Clover for sponsoring today's video. With Clover, you can get up to $250 before payday with no interest, no credit checks, and no late fees. You can download this today using the link in my description box so they know that I sent you. DIY, we are going to take these beads that I've got. I've also got this wire ring set. I've got this shape that I picked up from Crafter Square. And then I've also got these kind of wood pieces that I picked up a while ago from Dollar Tree. All of this stuff you can get now. I'm going to go ahead and grab the larger ring. We're going to put our other two aside and use those for another project sometime later. I'm going to go ahead and take my wire cutters, as you saw, and I cut open that ring. And I'm going to start to feed these beads on here. Now, I'm going to go ahead and just lay out a couple because I want to figure out kind of what my pattern is going to be. And then once that's done, I'm going to go ahead and take all of these beads. We're going to repeat it all the way around the entire wreath with the exception of about 3 or 4 inches at the bottom. So go ahead and just kind of start to thread your beads onto your wire wreath form. And when you're done, you're going to have a shape that's kind of like this. Now, you are going to notice that you can put some of that wire kind of and tuck it into the beads. That will definitely help kind of keep this stable. But what I've also figured out is that if you do take a little bit of tape and some hot glue, you can kind of create almost like a little band-aid. So just go ahead, add some tape underneath there. I'm just using some green tape. I squeezed some glue. Then I'm going to just kind of squeeze together my metal forms. And then I'm just going to wrap them with that tape. That way everything stays nice and solid and everything stays together. And no worries about this. You're not even going to see this part because we are going to really be covering that up. Now, with my octagon shape, I don't know if it's an octagon. What shape is this? It's not an octagon because I don't think it has 8 sides. I think that's what it is. But anyway, this shape here, I am going to go ahead and just use some brown paint. And I'm just using a little bit of brown paint and then just kind of spreading it out, almost giving it an effect of like it's stained. I will say though that by the time you're kind of done with this, you really didn't even have to paint this if you don't want to. You could certainly even paint this white. I just went with that dark kind of brown because I kind of like that fall color. And we're going to go ahead and just make sure that we've got the top and the sides completely covered there. Now, you definitely don't have to do the bottom. If you are a purist and you want to do the bottom, then please, by all means, go and do the bottom. Make this happy. This is not a requirement. I did go ahead and take one of my wood pieces there and just kind of glued that down. And then you've also got a second one here that you're going to kind of create the sandwich. So you'll see here in a second that one of them was not glued down yet. And the idea here is that you're going to kind of create something that you can kind of sandwich your wreath form kind of in between. That way it's going to stand up. So go ahead and you may have to trim them down a little bit. I did end up having to trim mine down a little bit. And then I just added some additional glue. Go ahead and just stand your wreath form kind of up in the middle there. And then what you're going to do is create a sandwich by gluing down one of the blocks on the other side. And then you can see here me kind of trimming down and then adding a piece on the top. That way everything stays nice and solid and this stands up. And then honestly, if you cut your pieces of wood the same size as the beads themselves, they are going to have some good stability to them. Now, I am going to go ahead and stain them, and then I ended up getting some stain on the white beads, but that was fine because I just decided to go ahead and age those beads a little bit and just kind of ended up brushing the brown brush or the brown paintbrush very lightly over all the other beads, and it created a very cool kind of natural distressed look. Now, this is actually super cute just like it is. I would absolutely use this as decor, but I am going to add some flowers because I've got these flowers that I chopped up, and I need to use them for something. And Mom, I know you're watching this. You're already falling in love with this. I will save this for you, I promise. Mom will reach out to me sometimes after I've created something and say, "Ooh, I want that thing that you made." And I'm like, "Sorry, Mom, I already gave it away." So, Mom, this one's for you. I know you're going to want this one. So, don't worry, I'll get this one to you somehow. And I'm going to go ahead and start adding my flowers. Now, I kind of do a little bit of everything. I kind of pick off some of the florals, and then I glue some of them on the stems, kind of using what I can. I use a lot of glue. I kind of tuck them in between the beads. And what you're doing here is essentially just kind of building what you want for your floral decor. And as you can see, when this is all done, this is really, really beautiful. I love the way that this turned out. Super, super cute and fall festive. All right, friends, now we've all had so much fun putting together these spooky DIYs, but let's face it, there's something else that's really spooky in this world, and that is unexpected expenses, especially when those spooky reality of life sometimes come into play, like bills or unexpected car repairs, or maybe even groceries because you're in between paydays. And let's face it, not all of this stuff that happens, it doesn't wait for payday. So thanks to Clover for sponsoring this video. With Clover, you can get up to $250 before payday with no interest, no credit checks, and no late fees. Now, you can download Clover. There's a link in my description box, but you can also scan this QR code right here on screen. I definitely, of course, want them to know that I sent you. Now, I'll be honest with you guys. There was a time right before one of my big DIY projects were due, and I needed to pick up some supplies. It was Halloween time, it was crazy, it was crunch time, and of course that was also the same week that my car decided that it needed a new tire because I'd ran over a nail or something. And if I didn't have Clover back then, I could not have covered some of those expenses instantly and still kept my project and literally my car on track. And that peace of mind, knowing that I had that access to cash right when I needed it, it really did make such a difference. And what I really love about Clover is that there's no hidden fees. There's no credit checks. It's full transparency, and you never have to worry about interest piling up. That's another huge thing. If you've ever been short on cash, check out Clover. Again, you can access up to $250 instantly with no credit check or late fees. All you have to do is click the link in my description box, or you can use this QR code right here on screen. Let them know, of course, that I sent you. And, you know, the fine print, not all users are going to qualify. Advances are going to range anywhere from $25 to $250. Average advances are about $93, and there may be some random fees that apply. Now, all you have to do is know real life stuff is going to happen. But this is also real life stuff, so let's get back to the DIY fun. There's some amazing, fun holiday DIYs coming up, and trust me, you are not going to want to miss them. Thank you again to Clover for sponsoring this message. Let's get back to those DIYs. Now, this next DIY is super easy and super, super cute. I love making my own kind of signs. I've got some ghosts here. I picked these up from Dollar Tree 1.5, the $1.50 tree. And I have this laser pumpkin that's from another set. I've got this little chalkboard, and then I've got that kind of picket fence piece from Crafter Square. I love the fact that this chalkboard is already black. That way I don't have to paint this. Now, for my fence post, go ahead and remove, the sticker, and we're going to go ahead and remove some of the twine as well. And then what we're going to do is chop this down a little bit because I want to make sure that this fits in between that chalkboard or within the frame of the chalkboard here. So if you, if you have any of these little haggard pieces, you may need to go ahead and trim those down a little bit because as you can see, it's just not perfect. And then this was definitely a little tall, so I'm just going to kind of eyeball where I want to cut across this because I want my picket fence to be able to kind of fit within there, but not take up the entire space. It certainly could be cute though, if you did want to do that as well. I love that these shears that I'm using are super, super easy. They cut through a lot of the Crafter Square stuff pretty easily. This one here was a little bit trickier, but I was able to get in there. So this is kind of the idea here, that the picket fence will go in there, but we do need to paint this. I did not want this to be perfectly brown. I did not want this to be perfectly stained. I kind of want it to look like it's been, a fence that's out there in the elements for a little while. And so I just kind of kept lightly brushing on with my little sponge brush and going a little darker in some spots, going a little lighter in other spots, until I got it to a point that I was really, really happy with. And again, I'm not wanting this to look perfect. I kind of want this to look distressed. You could certainly paint yours any color that you wanted to. I think this would be really cute, of course, as a white picket fence. So many definitely fun options here. And the beauty of a DIY is that you can make this exactly how you want to as well. So after I've kind of got that a little distressed, I did put it under the heat gun just a little bit, and then I put that aside, and now we're going to go ahead and paint our pumpkin. I originally went with kind of this distressed look, but I will say I did go in and brighten it up just a little bit. I wasn't super happy with this kind of muted tones, but it ended up being fine. It's definitely something, again, that you can make yours as bright as you want. I almost added a little jack-o'-lantern face to this, which I think would have been super, super cute to do as well. Again, totally up to you. If you are getting some amazing inspiration from this, definitely let me know in the comments. The ghost, we are going to go with a traditional white ghost because he is a crazy, friendly ghost. And we are going to make sure that he pops against that background. Now, I did keep that hole in the top, and I know some of you were wondering why that hole was still in there, and that's because I'm taking some of my wired twine here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it and I'm going to kind of twist it around here, and you will see that at the top here, I am going to hang my ghost, and we are going to suspend our ghost. That way our ghost has a little bit of movement, and when the ghost is kind of in the pumpkin patch here, he is going to be kind of flying around. So I did just kind of trim that down just a little bit, and then I just kind of added some help with my pencil there to make sure that the ghost kind of stayed into place. Now, the only thing holding the ghost is the top piece there where I glued that, and then with the fence I'm going to go ahead and just kind of add that. And then our pumpkin, we're also going to add that is the new and improved color, by the way, there. And pretty simple, pretty easy, a fun way to make a really fun sign. Look how the ghost moves around. So cute. I did distress the sides just a little bit, but I'm super happy with this one. Now for this next DIY, I grabbed these 2 packages of bones from the $1.50 tree. Now you could certainly just use one of these if you wanted to. It really just depends on how many of these you want to make. And I'm going to go ahead and separate my bones. I separated by the 2 sizes that are in the package, and we are going to start building. So the idea here is that we're going to create a square, and we're going to do this with our bones. So because of the way that they are kind of created, you've got to kind of figure out the best way to join these together. There's not going to be any kind of a perfect way, so don't expect that by any means. I just kind of played around with it until I kind of figured it out. I did add a little bit of glue kind of here and there, and then once it got to a spot where I needed to kind of regroup and figure out again, I just took it apart. And then we just kind of kept playing around with these until it was time to really start gluing these together. And when it was time to start gluing these together, everything did start kind of falling into place really easily. So you're going to add some glue here, and then you're just going to take your bones and you're going to glue them together. So the idea here is that you're going to create 2 of these squares. So once you've got your first square made, go ahead and create your second square as well. And then you're going to take your first square and you are going to create some legs, we'll call it, on each corner. And again, you're just kind of fitting them into the best way that they're going to fit in. And then you are going to take your second square and you're going to add some of these smaller bones. Now, up until this point, we've only used the larger bones. So when you're taking the smaller bones, you're going to glue them at a little bit of an angle. And then as you're kind of working around and you're starting to bring those pieces together, you will see now you can take one bone and just kind of lay it across the top. So it's kind of creating this pitch. Now you've also got your bones to start building your bone house. How cute is this? Go ahead and just kind of add the pieces. The glue is going to be pretty forgiving. You can kind of bend these and manipulate them around. But as you can see, this is super, super cute. And if you add a Dollar Tree candle, you've got a cute little bone house. You could absolutely make an entire bone village with these. I love this so, so much. So, so cute. Now, this next one incorporates some creepy cloth that you can get from Dollar Tree. This is a bundle that I've had for a little while now, and we are going to also take one of these kind of disco ball lights. Sorry for people with any issues there with flashing lights. This cutie came from Goodwill. It was $5. It was glass. It's a wood base. I freaked out when I saw it. I knew I needed to use this for a DIY, and I thought that this could be a really, really easy DIY. So we're going to add our disco light. I'm going to take a piece of my creepy cloth and we are going to cut down just a square. That is about I would say it's about the size needed for the ghost. And we are just going to kind of stretch this out and kind of, get it into position there. Creepy cloth never really stays exactly perfect, but look how cute this is. This is such a fun light, and this is actually in my hallway, but look at this at night. This is insane. It turns my hallway into a ghostly disco. I am in love. Now for this next DIY, we are going to upcycle. Now I've got more of those laser wood pumpkins. All of those, by the way, came from Hobby Lobby. They were in a collection that you could get. And if you watched my video a couple weeks ago where I did the leaf grapevine wreath, it was kind of the same. They had pumpkins, they had leaves. I'm going to go ahead and take this Dollar Tree frame. We're going to go ahead and kind of chip off this Friends kind of sticker that's on here. And then I went ahead and just sanded everything down really well. The Friends piece of it didn't really come off super, super smooth, or as smooth as I would have liked to. So I just took my sander and just kind of went over that a little bit more. And then I'm going to go ahead and just take this frame and I'm painting it black. I'm just using the ink chalk paint by Waverly, and we're going to go ahead and just kind of paint this black. Now I did just kind of paint the one side here. You see that side that I'm holding, and that's because I did want to go ahead and just take my heat gun to this. I did do all the sides and everything, but just kind of having that one dry side, if you will, was kind of nice to be able to hold that while I was working. And then I did go ahead and just kind of touch up any kind of black paint, and then ended up ultimately painting the other side. So the frame anyway, on the facing side was completely black. So hopefully that made sense. And then it was time to also start to paint my pumpkins. Now, as you can see, I've got two pumpkins that are kind of a little bit larger, and then I've got a bunch of smaller ones. I'm going to go ahead and paint these orange. This is the orange that I ended up ultimately painting the other pumpkin with. So getting all of these orange, getting them up and running, super, super cute with them. And then I just took my heat gun to these, and then I simply just glued them onto the front. I kind of laid them out a little bit and kind of figured out what my pattern was going to be, just to make sure that I had enough. I liked everything the way it was. And then I came up with this super adorable, really, really cute frame for fall. I love this because I can use this for fall. I can use this for Halloween. You could add jack-o'-lantern faces to this if you wanted to. You could add names. So many cute options. Really, really love this one as well.